Okay, I'll call the meeting to order. First order of business is the minutes from January 27th. Did you have any changes?
I had one thing. Line 284. It says it's projected to be a 7-day trial. I thought it was a 6-day trial.
It is a 6-day trial, I believe.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah,
I did say
they
7.
did.
I know I said 7 because it was scheduled for all of 1 week and 2 days on the next week, except for that Monday was a holiday.
Yeah.
So in my
That-
mind,
okay.
it was 7 days, but
Okay,
What
Let's-
line was that?
284. As soon as you said that, it's like, I
Yeah,
did say 7.
yeah, yeah.
So Jane, you were good?
Good job,
Sammy,
Jane.
you were
Way
good
to,
too.
way to go, Jane.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of January 27th as amended.
Wait, did you have any changes? I didn't ask you.
No.
No. Okay, do you want to second that?
Okay, I'll second
those-
that motion.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Awesome job on those minutes. That was a long.
Yeah,
one.
Jane, that was a really
There was a
good
lot
summary of
there.
the whole Mansion Hill thing. And
Really was.
in particular, I liked how you mentioned the issue with someone talking about the police speeding out of the thing. And instead of waiting like 40 minutes later in the minutes, you inserted right there what the resolution was, even though it occurred 40 minutes later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Nicely done.
good job. All right, next on the agenda is appointment of a health officer and a deputy health officer and a forest fire warden. We have some stuff right here for that. So looks like we're making a new appointment, Michael Whedon to be the health officer and David Tomaso to be the deputy health officer.
Correct.
And who were the two previous individuals in those positions?
Ron Beard and Mike was the deputy. And so Mike has now stepped up,
Promoted up.
yep, to the health officer and Dave will
Dave to
be,
the
yeah,
deputy.
correct.
Any questions, discussion?
None. Do you need a
I
motion?
need a motion.
I will make that motion.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye. Thank you.
We're not going to give him a hard time or anything?
Of course I am, just
Mm-mm.
not on camera.
All right, and then the next one is forest fire warden appointment. And again, that's Michael Whedon. And additionally, I guess requesting to delete the previous appointment of Ronald Beard. So
I'll
requesting to
make a
delete.
motion to delete Ron Beard as a previous forest fire warden and make a motion to appoint Mike Whedon as the new forest fire warden.
Question, I thought Smokey the Bear was from.
That's right.
He's the
That's his boss.
yeah.
All right, well, you gotta dress up occasionally then. I'll second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Do you want to sign this? There's a place for either the chairperson or the town manager.
You can sign.
Okay. I signed to the right half. of it,
You're
so-
ready to go. You're right there,
And
ready to
today
go.
is the 10th. All right, why don't you sign that and send to Tammy?
And while
And
you're
while-
doing,
I'll say-
yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, while we're talking about deputy health officer and fire force warden, we have an announcement to make.
Yes, we do.
Do you want to
Do you want me to do it?
introduce?
Sure. So, after, as everyone is aware, we've been without a fire chief now for quite some time. And after, some very, I think we had some really great interviews with some applicants that were very well versed in the field. We had a great response, and we did the interviews probably a month or so ago now, right? Now that I'm thinking about timelines, or at the early January, I think it was right after the holidays. We also met with the call members. We also sat down individually as an interview committee multiple times to discuss the specifics of the roles and whatnot. And after some deliberation, I think it was the consensus of the interview committee to offer the position to Mike Whedon, who was our current assistant deputy chief, who will now be promoted to fire chief effective March 1st. So
Congratulations.
Congratulations and thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and you can be assured that there was 4 of us on that team of interviewers, and we
Who were the other two? There was you, Karina.
John McKay,
Yeah.
Chief
and
John
Ryan-
McKay and
Ryan
Ryan,
Fair-
Fairbrother.
Fairbrother.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
and we met with 7, 6,
Six.
6 potential candidates, and uh, all good,
All great.
all great, I should say. And so I want to assure the community this wasn't a shoe-in. This wasn't just checking off the boxes to get other people out of the way because we already knew what we were doing. There was some good discussion amongst our group, and total consensus amongst our group of choosing you, and looking forward to your term of leadership with the department. You definitely have your work cut out for you. It's a great group. I was really impressed sitting down over at the station with the group and, getting input from them. And I know you know them all better than I know them. And I tell you, they're not only valuable out at a fire scene, that sitting in that station and just listening to what their concerns are. To
And
me,
what they want to see for the
what they want to
future.
see.
Yeah.
To me, that was a group of people who were very, I don't know if I use emotionally invested, or their character was
Mhm.
invested in that. They're not just doing that.
They're not
They're not there for the
money.
money, and they're not there just for the adrenaline. That they really care about. Who else am I talking to? Okay. So anyway, you have a great group. And well, awesome. So thank you.
Mike, going back 4 generations, you're not related to anybody on the board or?
All right. Next on the agenda, and I don't even know what this is. So hazard mitigation plan update under PDM 19.
That's JJ Bijou in this group. That's that.
The hazard mitigation is a plan. It's a grant that towns are given to update their hazard mitigation plan. So essentially emergency disasters, any type of it covers a variety of kind of topics. We received a grant for that a few years ago, but the state was on hold. Well, I wouldn't say was on hold, but the state was backlogged for their approvals. So we received approval for our hazard mitigation plan at the end of 2024. But for us to seek the final reimbursement of $350, they have to extend the grant until May of this year. So we can now collect the last $350 that the grant has awarded us.
All right. So this is the one that's already done.
It's already
in
done.
place.
Yes.
JJ and this group went around to all the buildings, if I'm correct, and, reviewed systems and all that.
No, that's joint loss
Yeah, yeah.
management.
Oh, okay.
That's risk
Yeah,
management.
that's joint loss management. Hazard mitigation is something that actually you all did
I said
years
with-
ago.
with June.
With June Gardno, yep,
Gardno,
and
yeah,
Naps,
that's
yep,
right.
and the company and her son, Olin.
Right.
You did this, I think, the year I came on board, and
Mhm.
you submitted the final documents the following year, but the state was so backlogged in their approvals due
Okay.
to COVID, they didn't approve the actual plan until 2024. We sought reimbursement for all the hours except for the final $350, which we couldn't submit for until the state gave their stamp of approval on the
We do this
plan.
every 5 years. The third time I.
I
recall
think it's
doing
every
it.
5 years, but I think COVID threw off the whole
Yeah.
timeline for everybody. So essentially, we still have $350 that we can collect on now that the state has approved the plan.
Okay.
In order for us to collect that $350, we have to extend the grant out until, I think it's May 30th or June 30th, the paperwork says.
May 29th.
May 29th. So then we can collect the last $350.
That's why I was confused, because
Yeah.
I
Yes.
did the
You did it.
The last
yes,
one.
Correct.
and I know that wasn't 5 years ago.
No,
Right,
no. No, it's
And I
just taken that
truly saw
long. Yeah, unfortunately, it's just taken that long to get formal approval from the state. And then
Okay.
we kind of forgot about that last $300 until they reached back out and said, hey, do you guys want this
Right.
last? By the way, you got $350. Do you want it? And we
that.
said,
Why can't
yeah,
they do that?
yeah,
That's
except we have to go through the
service.
motions of, you know,
Want a motion to extend it till May 29th?
I'm gonna make the motion because I'm gonna read
The
exact
specific, yeah,
words
they gave
we
us-
need,
yeah.
And then I'm gonna give this to Jane.
for the minutes. Yes.
But I'm gonna make a motion that we accept the terms of the pre-disaster mitigation PDM amendment as presented to reflect the change of period of performance dates from May 29, 2024 to May 29, 2025.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 And then if you see, OJ too, if you want to amend your motion in parentheses.
Yeah.
It says if you want to authorize me to be able to sign all the paperwork, if you want to be able to do that.
And to further.
Okay. And to further, assign, Karina Park to, is authorized to sign all documents related to the grant.
I'll
So-
second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so
perfect.
Jane, that can all go as one
Yeah.
motion. Not two separate votes. All right.
Perfect. And then we can get this last $350. And we'll have to start up the emergency operation plan is our next plan that needs to be updated this year.
Okay,
And then everything else I think I can sign
Think-
afterwards. Yeah.
that's it. Just to note, I don't know if the completion date and the performance dates are the same. But this says May 29, 2024. This says May 29, 2023. But they both change it to May 29, 2025.
25. Okay. I think that's fine.
So,
That's what they sent us. So
all right,
Well, that would mean that we don't have to do it again until 2030. That would be
potentially,
awesome.
potentially, I don't know. I'll have to confirm that. It is a cumbersome project
to say the
to
least.
go.
I came in on the tail end of one and then did the other one.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of
It
hours.
is.
It's a lot of participation.
awesome.
In
She's-
June, I mean,
she's
they
awesome
tried,
and
they
we
make it
love
as,
her.
they try to make it as,
Absolutely.
you know,
And I
as,
tell you, having, not that I'm assigning duties here, but
Mhm.
having Scott from downstairs
yeah,
on that committee
Yes.
is a blessing to this town.
yeah. And then, like I said, they try to make it as interactive and as, you know, fun and, you know, as it
She
can
does
be.
a great job.
She does,
But
yes.
it's just, it's a lot of work.
It's
All
just a
right.
lot of work, yeah.
Next, item is the budget warrant articles.
Yes, so in your packets, you're going to see a draft warrant and also a draft 737, which the draft 737 is just more for information, but as far as, well, I guess let me reverse. Last week at the budget committee meeting, the budget hearing, the budget committee voted to reduce the cemetery's budget by $3,600. This was a discussion that was had during the initial budget discussions. And I had spoken to Bill Kahn, one of the cemetery trustees, in regards to the budget committee's concern. Essentially, we were budgeting $4,000 around there for overtime. And we had only used a couple $100 year over the last few years. So the budget committee recommended reducing that line. Obviously, they can't reduce the internal lines. They can only reduce the budget, but it represents a reduction in the overtime that was budgeted for that. But, you know, after speaking with the trustees, they are fine with the reduction, but they did express that if for some reason they exceed the $500 that are still allotted for overtime, they'll go over it and it just is what it is. But they were comfortable with cutting that, that number down.
There was also talk about the truck too.
The
that they
truck,
don't
we
need
are gonna
separate
turn-
maintenance For that, they don't need that.
They don't
anymore.
need the truck anymore, so Nate's gonna take that truck back. But the line, we didn't end up reducing the line because they use that line for,
Gas and such for
you
the
got it.
lawnmower, maintenance lawnmower
You
and
got
stuff,
it,
yeah.
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 So if the Board of Selectmen would like to, have a unified budget with the Budget Committee, I would recommend that the Board of Selectmen revise their proposed cemetery budget by the 3,600, and then the Budget Committee's budget and the Board of Selectmen's budget will match at town meeting.
Do we have to vote the total? Or just to reduce it by 30?
I think you
We
could,
should vote the total.
I think you should vote the total, so I have that
You
in
have
front of me
that?
if you
Okay.
like. Yep, so the total,
Can I ask before you
sure.
read the total? If that's the total that was voted on,
Mm-hmm.
there was discussion at the budget committee meeting, I believe at the public hearing, about not having a separate warrant article for Linwood Ambulance Service, but incorporating that into the main budget.
That was discussed as well,
Yeah.
and they agreed to keep it out for the first year as
Okay.
its separate warrant
Okay.
article. And then after we receive the community's consensus, essentially,
Then
that
put it
it
in the
could be
budget.
built back into the operating budget
Okay, so
next
that
year.
was discussed and voted.
It
to-
was.
To not
Yes.
include it, okay.
Correct.
Because I'm good either way.
The reason
Well,
was
yes.
is that's what we normally do,
I know it's
With-
what we normally
yeah.
do.
and they wanted to
But
keep it.
We definitely touch
consistent and
base on it
transparent.
again because
Okay.
I brought it up because I said we had discussed incorporating it back into the health appropriations budget. And they had said that they are comfortable leaving it as a special warrant article for 1 year for the kind of transparency
I
sake.
just wanted to make sure that was the case.
Yes.
I'm totally good with that.
Okay.
So back to your new number.
Sure. So the new cemetery budget that was approved by the Budget Committee is $25,630.
Okay,
And then that brings their total operating budget for all departments to $9,656,682.
So I'll make a motion.
What was it again? 9,000,000 six.
9,656,682.
instead of 60.
682.
So I'll make a motion that we reduce the cemetery budget by 3,600, making it $25,630.
And,
I'll second.
and
We
further,
should do that separately, correct?
No, I think you
Do
could
that-
do it at
we
the
can
same.
Together?
Yeah.
Okay, and bringing our total operating budget to $9,656,682.
that can't be right.
No,
That can't be right.
What?
That's because that's a $4,000 drop over over the original, not a $3,600 drop. So we cut the whole thing out.
Hold on. There was 5, hold on. Oh, let's go to the cemetery's
Yeah,
budget.
see,
I have it
don't
in
my
front of me.
budget I didn't bring it with me.
8. $29,230 minus 25,630 is 3,600.
Okay, so that's the cemetery budget.
That's the cemetery budget.
Okay, now what does your budget say for the totals? I'm reading what's on here, but on the warrant.
That's a difference of 3,600.
That's,
If you take this number on the warrant.
Yeah.
Yep. And then subtract the 9,656,682, it's 3,600.
it is.
I just did the math.
9,660,282
Yeah,
minus
Those
9,656,682.
numbers. It's
oh,
3,600.
682,
Yes,
not 282.
no,
Correct.
Okay,
So,
so I was right.
she was right. And I was right. in my
apparently I wrote
notes,
down
too.
the wrong.
Or
but-
I'm dyslexic and maybe I said it backwards. I don't know.
well, 282.
Jane will tell us when she does the minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. You want me to reiterate or are you good? Well, reducing the cemetery budget by $3,600, bringing it to $25,630 with a total budget of $9,656,682.
Correct.
That's good.
That was my motion.
Okay, I'll second that. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Perfect.
All right, and I'll change the warrant.
to this,
Budget committee.
and then we're aligned.
And then you have a unified budget going to town meeting,
It's,
both budget
that's
committee
always a
and
good
Board of
thing.
Selectmen.
Not
Agreed.
that I'm opposed to having, opposing budgets. However, for $600, it's not worth having opposing budgets.
Yeah, and it's not worth
But I
the
don't-
energy
and-
that you'll have
right.
to expend on the discussion, you know.
And I
for-
I
don't-
agree
and I
with the,
don't
I agree with
disagree.
the move.
Exactly.
Correct,
They,
Yeah,
they made a
Yeah.
good point.
absolutely. No, I agree.
Okay,
That-
Thank you.
Quick question. for
Yes.
you, and I'm sure in my file here I got the answer, but net tax impact was $565 per thousand.
correct.
What was last year's budget tax impact?
What was projected or what we ended up coming in as?
Let's look at both.
I don't know what was project. Oh, I might have that on me. I do. Last year was 645 was what was projected and what it came in as. After we set the tax rate and put money towards the tax rate. See, that's where it skews things a little bit. I have it here somewhere. Oh. 595 is what it came, is what we set the tax rate with, is 595 in 2024.
And the original projection was, you say 645?
645.
Actual. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, then your other question was the order of the.
Of the order of the warrant articles, yes. So
the-
I
the
would like,
Bond article.
has to go first.
So
You got
that's, we can't even discuss that. Typically, the operating budget goes next.
Mhm.
I'd like to leave it there. Then it goes ambulance, tank wreck, police cruiser. And then it goes into all of the
Perfect.
regular capital reserve, highway block grants.
Mhm.
And then the last one is the,
Well, the revolving.
The
fund-
last two are the
Yeah.
yeah,
well, the revolving
fund
fund,
for
is
public
Article
safety services.
24.
That's it, police funding,
okay, the revolving account.
and then the disabled
Then,
exemption.
okay, then the disabled exception, that's,
I think I like this order.
I like it.
Yeah.
You
me
do?
too.
Okay.
Yep, I think it's perfect.
Yeah, I mean,
You have to do the bond first, whether you.
you have to do the bond first, whether you like it or
And get
not,
the operating budget
and get the
done.
operating budget
then-
done. And then I figured the two articles are gonna maybe stir the most conversation or have the most
Get the
conversation. I
operating
put at the
budget done,
top,
restrict-
right?
Restrict consideration and then move on. Yeah.
And then
absolutely.
the last two are obviously non-monetary
Right,
ones, so I
right.
just put them at
Put
the
them together.
end.
Nope, I think that's perfect.
Okay.
Thank you for that.
Yep,
It's almost like you've done this once before.
I'm trying to trying to work smarter, not harder. Okay, awesome. So I will finalize that if you're okay with the order then, and I will shoot out emails. I'll let the budget committee know that the budget will be good to sign once I,
When is the
Um,
bond hearing?
the bond hearing, we're gonna have at our next selectmen's meeting,
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Except for the printer. Before that,
Yeah, I mean, but
tell me again, why did we not have the bond hearing with the budget hearing? We always do. We always
because
have-
we didn't know if we were going to, remember, we gave the budget committee two options to potentially bond the Kank rec as
Oh, right.
well, and we didn't know
Oh,
which
right,
way they
right,
were
right,
gonna,
okay.
right, so we didn't have, we advertised for, we only knew about
This one.
this one. But we can still send everything to the
Yeah.
printer. The bond hearing essentially is just the hearing itself. It's going on the warrant. We're
Yeah,
not changing our
gonna reduce it.
mind,
We have to
so
have it.
everything can go to town
Okay, so
meeting.
go-
It can
okay,
go any,
gotcha.
yeah, everything can go to the town, the printers for the town report. It's just
Gotcha,
essentially
gotcha.
actually,
'Cause we're not- even if we have opposition, we're not gonna change it because we have to do it.
It's on
So
the warrant.
yeah, exactly. Okay,
Right.
okay. That makes sense.
so yeah, we'll have that. It's scheduled for the 24th, which is the last day you can legally hold one. So we're within the timeline.
Can I get a printed copy of the budget once you make the final?
Yes, I'll correct
Change.
our change and then I'll
Okay.
make copies for everybody,
Thank
colored copies, so everyone can tell the difference.
Thank you.
And then I'll let the budget committee know that they're okay to come in and sign it as well.
Fantastic.
All right, next on the agenda is an abatement request.
Yes.
I'll read you the summary here. This has to do with 16 Owl Street, numbers 1 and 2. So it's two different properties, two different owners. These two properties are located in a duplex at the Village of Loon. The Village of Loon property manager reached out recently to inform us that the owners and units were incorrectly labeled on the town's tax map. After researching the original deeds with assessing, it was determined that the owners of Unit 1 have been overcharged on property taxes. I am requesting an abatement in the amount of $1,894.83 be refunded to the property owner of Unit number 1. This refund amount covers tax years 2020 through 2024. And then she's attached the supporting documents. Apparently it's been assessed. Well, in 2020 was 318, but then after reval, it was at 528 for the last 4 years. The correct value was 328.5 for that first year, and then 482 for the 4 years following. So doing that over the 4 years is a total of that $1,894.83.
Correct.
And it looks like the other one. Oh, all right. So one is being charged the taxes of the other.
The owners were transposed in the unit.
So
Correct.
we've sent out a new tax bill.
No, we'll have to do a supplemental tax bill for the owners that was under assessed, but they were over assessed. So we wanted to address that first so they could get their refund.
Okay.
Gotcha.
And this is factual. Check
Oh,
all
yes,
that's
we went down a rabbit hole with it.
Okay.
So, yes.
I'll make a motion to approve the abatement request as requested.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm gonna do this before you start.
Yes, please. Yes.
All right, we have an offer on another lot in the business park. I will read you the email that goes with it, and then the purchase and sale, we can pass around, but it's pretty
I
straightforward.
think everybody's got a copy.
Oh, you do? Okay. Hello, Karina. I wanted, and this is from Steve Zala,
Mhm.
Real estate agent right across the street here. Hello, Karina. I wanted to forward this to you so you have it on Monday morning when you get in. Hope you had a nice weekend. Please find attached an offer for lot number 9 on Arthur Salem Way in the business park. It looks like the assessed value of the lot is 67.5. The offer is 68,000. So that should be right in line with that value and what others are selling for. There are no inspection or due diligence contingencies. It would only be contingent on the final approval for financing, which they have underway, and final approval from the town on their proposed property improvements. Also in section 20, third space down, is a provision for a professional fee, which would be the brokerage commission. In the business park letter, it stated the town would expect to pay a reasonable broker commission. As you can see, I noted in this section that I am just requesting a $500 commission, which will save the town almost $3,000 versus what our normal commission rate would be. Because it's you, my town, and the buyers are my friends, are friends of mine, I'm happy to accept this reduced rate just to help facilitate the process. I hope you and the selectmen find this reasonable. I think that that's about it for now. Please let me know if you have any questions. I may be out of town. I'm on blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
So that's the introduction. The buyer's name is Ryan Properties LLC, Matthew Ryan and Ryan Properties LLC, and Allison E. Ryan, who are from Thornton. Do you know what they are looking to do?
Yep. They own Linwood Linwood Plumbing and Heating.
Oh, okay.
So they are proposing to do something similar to what the last gentleman was proposing to do, where his sale fell through for the 2 business lots. He wants to do a metal building, essentially a 3-unit metal building with a workshop space and an office space and a bathroom. He would occupy one of them and he would lease out the other 2.
What did he mean? Because it's you?
I think he means the
He
town.
said,
Town.
my town.
Yeah.
No, afterwards he said it's you.
I don't know what that
It
means.
should be
I was gonna say, I don't know, Steve, so.
That's
Yeah,
all
yeah,
comma.
yeah.
Yeah, I said comma.
But I did ask them. They said that they're the owners of the Linwood Plumbing and that they hope to have their workshop out of there and that they would like to have 2 other units with a similar workshop space, office unit, bathroom, that he would then lease out. And he, I think, already has potential leasees in mind. Because he did ask
they
if
don't
he
buy.
asked if a spray foam company would be okay to go in there. I said, I think that would be absolutely fine. He was worried just about certain provisions in the,
Yeah, I was gonna
Ordinance, yeah.
say, all of the individuals that are sublease.
yep,
are
well,
required
that's what he
to
said, would put it in the lease
spray foam.
documents.
We
Yep,
may have the chief look at, is that hazardous material or what have you, something.
right, right. So,
Cool.
yeah.
Thank you.
Wow.
Yeah, because they did have some questions in regards to when they construct it, would they need firewalls between the units? So Sean
Yeah.
and Mike have been working to work with the
Awesome.
fire marshal's office to get some of the answers questions,
Lot
the questions
9 is
answered.
One at the end of the.
So that is it. That is so lot number 9. And so I didn't initially think of this, but after I talked to Carol about it today, so lot number 9 is this one at the very end of the cul-de-sac.
Okay.
This lot right here
Yeah.
is called Town of Lincoln Unlotted Area. It doesn't have a lot number on it. It's essentially a landlocked parcel. What is this lot? Because Carol was like, well, you'll need a driveway easement if you're going to sell this lot. But I think this lot is more of a buffer for the town. It abuts the highway and it abuts these 2 residential properties backyard.
Right.
But on the actual survey that was done, it says Town of Lincoln unallotted area. And it's also the same with this lot, but I think this lot is
Online,
our
it said-
east.
calls it lot number 10.
Oh, so this is the actual survey.
Right, online. I'm just looking at the.
Yeah, and well, and
sheet,
that's, I
yeah.
think that's a Carol thing.
Oh, gotcha. Well, I wonder if you'd be interested in purchasing that piece as well. I mean, it would make sense that whoever owns 9 would own that corner.
I mean, it seems silly that it would be its own lot. And to be honest, I
agree.
think it ruins the value of lot 9 if you have to have a driveway easement going across it, to get to lot 10, even though it is one of the larger lots. I just wanted to make sure that if we are considering that,
It's a third of an acre.
if we're considering that a buildable lot, then we need
That's
to,
of a third of an acre.
Yeah, but
it directly abuts the residential properties
And
that
it's,
are on Connector Road.
I mean, it's got a property card and a value in the whole.
Oh
thing.
yeah, of course it does. It's
Yeah.
a town lot. The town
Right.
owns it. It's gonna have a property card.
I never noticed that before.
Yeah.
I'd suggest leave it as is till the time comes that, somebody says, I want to buy it, and then we go through the whole process.
Yeah, but if we sell that lot to the individual who's interested in it, we can't put an easement on it after the fact.
No, I know, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so
That's
I
what I'm
mean,
saying.
either it's,
Maybe he buys the residential property and goes through there. Who knows?
who knows, right?
Yeah,
True.
that's what I'm saying. Let's wait. Not get ahead of ourselves.
I'm more concerned that I just want to make sure that we are transparent in what we're selling. And if we're selling that lot with the intention to have the lot 10 in question be a buildable lot, then that should be communicated so he understands that there's potential that, because right now, like I said, the survey says unallotted Town of Lincoln.
Right. All the other lots are right around a half acre. Oh,
And like I said, when you go on if you're looking at Tammy's map, it abuts the highway and then it abuts the
well, there's
residential.
another one that's a third of an acre as well. Number 7 is a third of an acre.
Wait, what is lot 9? What, I can't read it on this map.
It's
Right
just
here.
over,
All right, where's here? I'm looking. This is 9 right here.
Yeah, what's the size?
I
of
think it's
that?
0.6.
Oh, got that on. Yeah, 0.6.
So
just
that's over
half
half
an
an acre.
acre.
That's the biggest lot.
That's the biggest lot in the.
Yeah. And then the other ones here, number 4, number 5 are about a third acre, just over a third acre as well.
We sold the last one for 60.
4, right? 64?
I
Think-
think you're right. Yeah,
I think
yeah.
I'm right.
Okay,
We go through the hearing process on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we
hearings.
closed on that. Yep.
Do you need a motion to accept the offer?
Well, I guess the question is, well, if you want to accept the offer, yes. Or 2, if that is a buildable lot behind it, because I think that might change his offer. If he knows that he might have to have a driveway.
Well, I propose we accept the offer and start the process of the public hearings, and you can have the conversation. Is it Steve? With Steve, and let him know.
if we accept the offer, though, we're accepting what he's proposing, which does not include an easement.
Right.
Right, it's as is.
Oh, gotcha. See what you're saying.
Yeah.
What's that?
Caveat emptor, buyer beware.
You know, it's the seller that needs to beware.
Yeah.
We won't have access to that land if we sell this.
So that's what I'm saying.
Right.
Do we want to ask for an easement across the property and that it could be in the 15-foot setback that he has to abide by anyway? He can't build within 15 feet of the
Of the property line, right, property boundaries.
Probably a good idea. Glad you noticed that and pointed that out.
Yeah, I just don't want us to get us into
No,
a legal
good
rabbit
call.
hole.
Good call.
You couldn't go back there.
No, you can't get there from the road, just barely.
What's that?
Our right of way doesn't reach it. That's our right of way in this way onto connector road.
Right, we could actually just ask for the easement on the back half. 'Cause- Can I see that?
Sure.
But we have no road there, then we'd have to build a road to that.
But we have access. This is our property here, which is not for sale.
Correct.
We only need an easement from here back. Because we can get from the circle
You
down
can
here
get the circle under our property,
on our
right? Yeah,
property. So we just need it, that one little bit.
okay.
Makes sense.
I don't know what that back piece of property would be used for, but I hate to like just landlock it now and have people 20 years from now wishing we hadn't done that.
I agree. I just think that it may potentially change the sale, you know?
And that's fine. It is
And that's
what
fine. It is what it is, right?
yeah.
I'm just saying that I think that it's different. That lot is different if the potential buyer knows that he's going to have an easement or even on the corner, and then that someone might build something below him, essentially,
Right,
right? It has the potential to.
Has the potential.
Right.
It would be something quite small based on the shape and
Yes,
the setbacks required.
yes.
You want to talk to him about purchasing that piece also?
If that's something the town is interested in,
but if he'll buy all of them, that would be better, but yeah, of course, we're interested in selling it,
okay.
yeah.
I would say for an additional fund to,
Okay, so we would either request that an easement be put on the property to give the town access from this parcel, which is the
Mhm.
town's unlotted, to this parcel,
the town's unlotted.
or
Yeah.
entertain him absorbing that
Additional-
whole thing.
For an additional, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
OJ?
Yep.
Paul Bowden, could I
Yeah,
suggest that maybe you, Karina, make a call to Billy Kahn He was instrumental in how that was all set up, and he might be able to shed some light on what that piece of property was and what it was, why it was held that way.
Look like Joe should
Okay.
not sign that document, Paul.
That's, yeah,
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying that was all divided up, there was.
Bill was a
This might be
select,
worth some,
had more input. Yeah, Bill was very instrumental in getting that done.
yeah.
Donahue did all the work too. Might be a
Right, but as far as getting it lined up
insight
and
as well, yeah.
so,
Yeah.
all right, so let's get back to
Okay.
Steve with that request.
Thank you.
No worries. We got some time because we didn't make it in time to put it on the planning board's agenda for Wednesday, so it's not going even to the planning board until the end of the month anyways.
Okay,
So we have a little bit of time, and I did explain that to Steve, that obviously with a municipal sale of a property, takes a little bit longer.
Takes a few days more.
Yeah.
Thank you.
all right, with that, let's move on to the town manager's report.
Okay, so we already talked about the operating budget and warrant article review. Also, I guess one more thing to touch base on, just so you're aware, we did receive a petition warrant article on Tuesday, which was the last day, last Tuesday, which was the last day that we could accept petition warrant articles. It was appropriating $1,000 to the Second Chance Animal Rescue in Littleton. After reviewing the petitioners, it was determined that they did not meet the 25 registered voter requirement. So we addressed that also at the budget committee meeting, just letting them know that another petition came in, but it didn't meet the criteria. And so it wasn't included in the budget, but just so you all know.
Thank you.
South Peak Water Tank. So working with Weston and Sampson, we have submitted our response to the U.S. Forest Service. We submitted our response to their comments on the 90% design review. If we remember, when we met with them last fall, they had a lengthy sheet of comments in regards to our 90% design. And that is when we also decided to move forward with the project at the higher price tag and also at the larger scale. So Weston and Sampson has been working over the last few months to put together a formal response to their comments. That was submitted last week. This is the first step in getting our project back in the hands of the U.S. Forest Service for final comments and hopefully formal approval regarding the larger scope project. So it is in their hands, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we will receive good news from them that we will not have to kind of move forward with a full NEPA review process for the expanded project, excuse me. So. But if anyone would like to see, I have, oh, I forgot. I must have left it on my desk. I do have a printout of the whole thing. I will also send it to you in an email. Some of the documents are enormous. So Sam had to send them to me with links. I'll just forward you all the email and you can look at what you want and
Okay.
not what you
Okay.
don't want.
Perfect.
Okay. Send that. Something else. So that's South Peak Water Tank. Okay. Congressionally directed funding at the new PD. So I have been in touch, with USDA regarding our CDS funds and the timing of award and disbursement. We will most likely remain in a holding pattern with the new executive orders and the new the temporary restraining orders on those executive orders. So unfortunately, with the uncertainty of federal programs and the funding, we will be in a holding pattern and for the unforeseen future. So I will continue to update the board as new information is released. I will just do what I have been doing and email every week or so asking for an update to see where we go from there. But at this point, they told us that they are transitioning under the new leadership and they have been directed to kind of hold off until the dust settles and they get the green light to start giving those awards again. So that's
Thank
where
you.
we are. Yep. And then also we believe that we have been experiencing some heat loss at the new PD. Tammy and I talked about this earlier, but if you have driven by lately, you will see that there are some large icicles that are forming around some of the roof lines. So the Valley Brenzinger came up today and did a full walkthrough of the building with BPS. And they are going to be doing some thermal imaging over the next 2 days to try to identify if there is any heat loss, and if there is heat loss, obviously where it's coming from. And then follow up with us to give us kind of next steps and determine a course of action. So.
Good.
Maybe, Sean, you can answer this question. How is the roof holding snow or not holding snow?
This is
Just the
yesterday.
icicles? Snow?
The peak.
What do you mean like holding snow?
Well, is it sliding up? Is it holding it on the roof? I mean, are we dealing with a snow load there weight wise?
No, no. I don't think so. No.
The peak is not holding the snow. The peak was clear.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
But some of these, they're ice dams. They're not just icicles.
Yeah, but you can see where the melting has occurred right
Correct.
there.
Yeah.
Forming that ice dam.
Exactly.
Right.
There's no question that there's heat loss. Hopefully they figure out where exactly the heat loss is. Because it's there.
Right. And also the building is in, I guess there's something, they explained it to me today called like heat balancing, where like some rooms are cold and some rooms are hot. And until they get the building up and running and all the ventilation systems and all the valves and knobs and all whatever they need to do, that the building itself needs to balance itself out. They don't think that that would cause the icicles, but they did say that the building itself needs to balance itself out as far as heat registering and heat gauging. So some rooms are hotter right now and some rooms are colder, but he said that usually takes a little while to balance out, but he didn't think that would be the cause of it. So
When are we looking at occupancy?
not until March. We're still waiting for the
Of this
transfer
year.
of the
Sorry.
of this year. We're still waiting for the transfer switch.
Oh, really?
Yes. So
I have
Now-
experienced damage to a home from ice dams. Smaller than some of those,
Mhm.
and it was significant. Tens of thousands of dollars. So hopefully they figure this out sooner rather than later and fix the issue.
yeah, well, like I said, they took it seriously. John came up today and did a full
Right.
walkthrough with Kevin. So they are, like I said, and then Kevin said he was going to get a thermal imaging to do it over the next few days to try to identify where it's coming from and how it's happening. So,
And remediate it.
and then we'll figure it out. Yeah.
Perfect.
So I will let you know as I find out. Moving forward, Campers World, potential proposal. OJ and I met with potential developers for the Campers World parcel, 2 weeks ago now. Was it 2 weeks?
Yes, so, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's been going by pretty fast. And we've been told a formal proposal should be forthcoming. So we should see something, in the relatively near future. Employment update. We already talked about Mike Whedon, accepting the fire chief health officer position, effective March 1st. And then interviews for the recreation, program coordinator. We conducted those as well, and those went really well, I would say. We have an employment offer that's been extended to one applicant. That applicant is still going through the background check process or is starting it. Yes, so we're not announcing that yet until we make sure we dot all our i's and cross all our t's, but that hopefully that position will be filled shortly as well.
Woo.
I know. Also, another round of interviews with a lot of great applicants and
Yeah.
candidates, you know,
Yeah.
for the position. So all very, I would say, experienced in that
Mhm.
field or had some
Mhm.
sort of experience in the recreation or outdoor education. So again, very lucky.
Yeah.
We'd rather
Absolutely.
pick from the best than
Mhm.
than anything else.
Yeah, I was
So
pleased with the candidates.
and essentially that's all I have at the moment.
Were you able to talk to Ray about updating the sewer
Yes,
capacity?
I did.
Okay,
Yes.
what's
And
his timeline or?
He didn't give me a timeline, and and interesting enough, Carol had on her calendar today a reminder from 4 years ago
Hilarious. God, I
To
love
check
that.
on that?
to update the sewer capacity from the 2021 sewer capacity study. 4 years, she had it literally on her calendar from 4 years ago to do it today. So it got sent to Ray as a reminder again today. But no,
Okay,
that is forthcoming. I can reach out to Ray to see what he thinks
okay.
that is as a timeline, but it is he is aware of our request to update that this year. So
All right, I didn't have anything else.
No, I'm good.
Jeremy, Jack?
We have an update from Mansion Hill. Remember, they were going to meet with Nate. I know Michael Connor was, and they said that they couldn't do it. Is it their intent, to add those, what was it, 64 units to the town source system?
there's been no update that I'm aware of. I did send them the tap fee assessment form. I sent them Ray Corber's contact information. And that's as far as I've heard.
The other thing I saw some correspondence go back, emails going back and forth between Jade and one of the local developers.
Mm-hmm.
And it seemed to me that the developer was kind of being a little bit quippy with what he wanted. All I want that developer to do is look across the street, something he told us would be built and up and running 2 years ago, still a hole in the ground over it. It looks like crap. My comment.
How do you really feel?
All right, how about,
It's Monday.
I was wondering where you were going with that. I was like,
How
oh
about,
boy, here we go.
public participation? Is anybody who has something?
Yeah, OJ, I have a couple things.
Paul? Yep.
So Karina, if this money that's due for the police department doesn't come to fruition, how much is the town gonna be on the hook for?
I mean, I don't know the exact number off the top of my head. I mean, it would be roughly in my guess is hundreds of thousands of dollar range,
The grant we were expecting was a
$1
million.
million.
Okay,
It wasn't $1 million, it was $1 million minus
No, it was $1 million.
minus the
we-
administration fees of some 200,000 or whatever.
It was $1 million.
Okay. So have we spent all of that $1 million?
No, I think a good portion of it is earmarked for certain things. I think we've been reluctant to seek reimbursement from some of the capital reserves. Because in the event that the funding does fall through, that we would use some capital reserve funds for those purposes. Have been resistant, like I said, to reimburse ourselves because we know that, as an example, with the warrant article this year, once we take the money out of the capital reserve to put it back into the capital reserve, we have to go through town meeting and a warrant article and undesignated fund balance. So, so that's kind of where we stand.
So we have no idea, we're continuing to build or finish build, and we have no idea whether the federal government is going to honor their grant, right? At this point,
Yeah, I mean, well, we are obligated through contracted to finish the build, so we don't have a choice on that. It's not like we're 95% done with the project. We're not going to call it quits at this moment, but yes, we are still in limbo with that $1 million.
is there enough money in CIP to be able to pay for the contractual obligations?
I believe it would be able to cover a majority of it, yes.
Okay. The other thing I wanted to bring up to the board's attention was, I am pissed off as a taxpayer and as a business owner in town. I have contacted DOT. I sat back at Tammy trying to get up to Loon for, it's not just this winter, it's the winter before. I've contacted DOT, I've sent them pictures. When is that problem, that situation going to be taken care of? I can't get to my customers. I have people that call me and say, hey, can you come up and do this? Can you come up and do that? I've got a water leak. I can't get there because Loon is not taking care of their traffic. This past weekend, there was no parking available at Loon. It was drop off only. Okay, this is not what the town was promised as part of the EIS process and part of Loon and South Peak development. The town needs to take a handle on this and get it under control. And I would like to know from this board here, what can you do about it?
I'm not sure I have an answer right off the top of my head, but,
Pretty quiet.
We could start by meeting with Loon.
I mean, that's,
Tammy, I'm sorry to interrupt, but every year after the winter, the Board of Selectmen and the DOT get together and they meet about this. And every year after, it's the same problem.
So have you, what are the outcomes of those meetings? I've never attended one.
Well, I don't know. I
don't
haven't
know.
gone either. I asked, but
there's
apparently
been,
last year
there's been
they-
changes that have come about as a result of some of those meetings.
Correct, but I think
And
what it boils down to is DOT doesn't think we have a problem.
And it's DOT's road, so we can't
Right.
alter
we,
their
we can
road if there's no
continue
problem.
to talk with Loon and try to see if there's more efficient ways to do things. I don't think we should just stop, but,
Right.
When you get to a point
know-
in time, when you get to and I'm sorry to interrupt here again, but when you get to a point in time where the whole South Mountain development, the whole Loon Mountain development's gone through the EIS process, the FEIS, and that it's come down to all the studies that have done that there was plenty of parking available. Now we're at a point where Loon Mountain is advertising there's no parking available, okay? And they're saying you drop off only. That's a problem for the town. It's a problem for people trying to get to Loon. It's a problem for the town and the taxpayers trying to get around. And I'm just, look, I mean, to me, that's what you're elected for. I mean, someone's got to stand up to the DOT and say, hey, get a handle on this. Talk to Loon, whether they need more people, whether they need more parking. I mean, as a planning board member, I'm certainly not very happy with the way they're handling their business. And I see that it growing and I want them to grow, but not like this.
Well, some of the complaints are related to the public themselves due to the fact that they don't follow directions. i.e., there's a sign, that's on a message board that's on 112 saying all traffic here, no parking forward. People still go forward. They're turned around. I've witnessed this myself. I went to church at 7:30 Sunday morning. Prayed for you, by the way. And,
Thank you.
you're welcome. And consequently, I ran into the situation. It was jammed. They didn't have the message board up there. Later on, when I was teaching up at Brett Woods, headed out of town, the sign was up there saying, no, but people were still going up. I mean, it's a combination of people not paying attention. I think Loon is trying its best. I agree. I attended one of the meetings. In fact, I think I set up one of the meetings with DOT here. And what was his name? Jim McMahon?
Mhm.
I think
Yeah.
it was Jim McMahon. And, he indicated it's a state road. We'll do what we can. I mean, at that point, again, like you say, somebody's dragging their feet here. They talked about, hey, is there a way we could make one way only this way? But then that would impact the people on Pollard Road. Again, and you predate me here. You're not older than me, but you predate me. And at one time, wasn't there a talk about creating even another exit off of the highway to go over towards Lowell?
Well, Jack, there were several options made and And the most interesting reading you could probably do was in the final environmental impact statement, which gave Loon the approval. There were things that were talked about, like creating 2 lanes going to Loon during the morning and coming out during the afternoon. When you look at how they, and if you just take a look at what actually happens in life here in Lincoln. So take, for example, the Highland Games. There are police officers instead of just a Loon employee sitting there on the front of the truck, waving, not very chalantly, try to get people in. So, I mean, there's things that can happen here. And I ran Loon's parking for many, many years. I'm telling you that there's options that are not happening. And there could be changes instituted that would alleviate a lot of this. I'm telling you, it's terrible. And it's only going to get worse is the problem. And that's why I'm asking you guys, someone needs to pay attention to this and think about the safety factor. I mean, you know, I've taken pictures of snowstorms with DOT plow trucks sitting in traffic trying to get up the Kent. What about a fire truck trying to get in there? Tammy was in front of me one day. She witnessed people doing U-turns on the Kent going the other way. You know, I mean, it's a terrible thing to happen. I mean, there's kids in these cars. I mean, it just needs to be resolved, and letting it continue to happen is not the right thing to do. You know, I mean, if you're gonna have a business, you need to be able to respond to whether it's good or bad. You got to respond to it, and you got to be able to handle it. You know, and I don't see that happening. And I hear a lot of people complaining about it as well. So I don't know what you can do, but I would like to request that you do something.
Well, the only thing I would say, your analogy compared to the Highland Games is a little bit different. Because as you and I both know, Loon leases or rents parking spaces like from Whale's Tail, from Forest Ridge, and they actually are allowed to park in different spots, and then they shuttle those people. In the wintertime, it seems to me that they don't have the number of drivers available to run an additional shuttle bus. You and I both know also that on some of the homeowners associations are not paying for the shuttle services they once had. They're running a different date. I mean, I've talked with the different about that. So, you know.
Yeah, Jack, you're 100% right, Jack. And the shuttles that are running used to be all contracted services, and the EIS actually part of their approval was that Loon will provide shuttles for a lot of these developments going on. And those shuttles now have downsized to smaller shuttles, which can't get people up there fast enough, so people take their cars. But it's not the town's problem. It's a business's problem, and they have to solve that. And when I used to work at Loon, we had shuttles, and we would have to have more. You know, I mean, if they needed them. And so there were different things that happened. But anyway, it's a problem that's going to create a problem. And I think it's going to start affecting the development within the town as well.
You know, well, again, I don't solve Loon's problems, not my intent to, but if it's a town problem, then get involved. But as you know, during the Highland Games, there's no parking up there, period, because the whole parking lot is the Highland Games. So consequently, there are shuttle stops all along, and the Highland Games, correct me if I'm wrong, brings in over 35,000 people in 3 days there, which is more than ski at Loon in 3 days. So consequently, you know, a shuttle service of some type might work. But like you said, people are driving to the mountain with ski equipment on the weekends. They don't want to take shuttles in many cases. So consequently, it just, you know, exacerbates the problem.
Well, sometimes you could get, I mean, like I said, Jack, I mean, one observation that I made is that the reason I use the Highland Games was because it's police officers instead of Loon personnel. And sometimes they pay more attention to it. Now, is it an extra cost to Loon to do that? Yes. Maybe it's not police officers. I can remember when, take for example, the ice castles. They had to hire officers to do that. Sometimes they were sheriffs. Sometimes it was state police. Sometimes it was, you never knew who was going to be out there. But there were officers there with cars and flashing lights, and people paid a little bit more attention to that. So I don't know what the fix is, but I do know that it's a problem. And as a taxpayer and a business owner in town, it's tough to make that work. Every year, it's an issue. And we've got a whole holiday week coming up. We're supposed to get a lot of snow Saturday and Sunday. It's gonna be a mess. And, just looking for a little help from the leadership.
All right. Point well taken.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Public participation?
I just want to touch base on something real quickly, just because what Paul said kind of reminded me, just an FYI. We are getting more snow this week and also a whole bunch of it this weekend. Nate is starting to run out of spots to put the snow. So you're going to see him piling it up in certain areas. We are going to we were hesitant to put it over by the new skate park because we didn't really want to muck up the new, but
Yeah.
but we don't have much of a choice at this point. Nate's going to try to keep it away from like their little kind of rectangular square where the landscaping and stuff's going to be. But we don't have the skate park anymore. That was one of our spots to pile snow. We don't have the new PD was one of our spots to pile snow. We're running out of spots to pile snow. So Nate's
There's
good.
some space at the end of Pleasant Street at our Hammerhead turnaround.
There is.
Yeah, because there's that whole corner, because you pull in and it goes this way and this way, but this whole area is just, there's nothing there.
Okay.
I mean, it's not gonna hold all of it, but it'll be a spot to put some.
Yeah, he's gonna put a little pile at the cank. He's gonna try to put the clean stuff. Taylor Bowden's gonna help him kind of move some stuff around and make up some holes and stuff. But just so you know, if people are complaining, we don't really have much
And
more
we're-
room for snow.
Everybody's
Doing the
all
same
the
thing.
houses,
Yeah,
houses,
yeah.
we're like, okay, where
with-
am I gonna put this now?
Right,
Well,
yeah.
With-
On that subject though, let's thank Nate and his crew for the work they're doing.
Yeah.
I will.
They are
Yeah.
doing a great
Yeah.
job, getting up at 3:00, 2:00 in the morning, plowing. I, like you say, go to church on Sunday early.
Yeah.
The sidewalks were clear, the roads were clear, the town roads. I mean, really, they're doing a great job.
Yeah.
And the school, they've got the school this year, so
They
they've
do-
got to
they're
get up
doing a good
early to
job,
the
yeah.
school, and it looks great. Every time I walk the kids to school in the morning, they're doing a great job. Despite the complaint in town, they're doing a
Mhm.
great job.
I will let them know.
Hey, Karina,
Yes.
just a comment to you on the snow. Could either the cank or a loon, could they put up there so they could use it on the hill anywhere?
He's
just
gonna-
dust it off and have a snowmaker push it up the hill, they've got that.
Clean stuff could go on a sledding hill.
Yeah, it depends on how dirty and gross it is. Essentially, we don't want to be putting trash filled snow on the cank ski area, but he is going to start having to pile some at the cank. He did say that. He's just hoping to find snow that isn't coming from.
Yeah, you got that. Yeah, he had a
Yeah.
lot of trash one year. We did it one year and there was, you're right, Karina, there was trash in it, but I was just thinking of between Loon and the cank, maybe there was a easy ski slope that they could just put it on,
Yeah.
Well,
Be
that's a
careful.
good idea. We'll put it in Loon's parking lot, then people can't park there, so they don't have to take a shovel.
Well, Jack, you got some
Yeah,
space
that's
at your
not
house,
okay.
don't you?
All right, we're going to end that conversation.
Well,
But thank you.
So be careful with the cank because we have vacation week coming up.
See,
And usually cardboard box race night especially, they're parked all along up and down the road because there's not enough parking. So
Yeah.
not to not put it there, but just keep that in mind.
I was going to say,
he said that he was going to talk to John too about moving
Okay.
some
That's
stuff.
a good idea. I
piles
hadn't
and
thought of
stuff
that.
around.
that was
Yeah.
going to be my suggestion. There's a couple of town parcels that might be able to hold some. Solid waste facility being one.
Yes.
Connector Road where the sewer runs under 93
Mm-hmm.
and
Across
comes out.
from Toll Road.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or is that Peter's? Is that it was called Toll
Toll
Road?
Road, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
There's
We own
a
that
spot there, there's a
triangle.
triangle, but it's not huge, but it's
Mhm.
whatever, if you can take 20
Yep.
dump trucks full of snow, that's
There's
a little
also a
bit.
triangle across from the cank that I don't know if there's enough trees cleared or not, but there could be some put there. Maybe in the future, we could cut some
Yeah.
trees and put it there or something, but keep it in mind.
And
How
then the
about-
town
how about the
also
light
owns a
industrial
spot,
park?
the town also owns a spot heading towards Loon on the right, beyond whatever the riverfront condos.
Just
Okay.
before Loon's parking
Before
lot.
Loon's, between riverfront condos and Loon's parking lot, there's a piece of town
But that,
there. I don't know how they can
that
access
walking
their.
path goes along that.
Yeah. they'd
So
have
I
to
don't
be-
know
you
how
can't
close
fill
that
that
would
in, but,
be, but yeah.
and I'm not even sure if they can access it from that little pull off there. I don't know where the town land starts,
Okay.
but anyway, yeah, have them look around
Yeah,
for,
so he's gonna try his best to move it
options.
around. Moving snow around. If you see the loader or the backhoe, I'm not.
No,
well,
they do it every year. They
yeah,
have to
oh,
move
yeah,
it
you
here.
gotta
and
move it
there.
around, yeah.
Some years worse than others. But I'm glad to see it here as much as I prefer 85 and sunny.
Oh,
The
yeah.
kids, we got vacation week coming up and
Yeah, if it's
Snow
gonna be winter,
sculptures
you
in the
might as well
front-
have snow on the ground.
snow.
exactly. Snow sculptures in the front field coming up and whatnot next week. They'll be working on those next week.
Nice.
So, which I love to see too. So
All right,
Yeah.
any other public participation? For non-public, do you have anything?
I have something very brief, personnel wise.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna hold you
And
to that very brief.
I'm
Okay.
just, when we met with, the potential developers, they had a
Yeah.
couple of questions related to a real estate transaction that I'd like to, at least before we answer, get other input.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion to go into non-public under 91A for a personnel issue and a potential real estate
Transaction.
transaction.
So,
Thank you,
second,
guys.
a second.
All
Thank
those in
you.
favor? Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you later, Wayne. They.
Give me 2 minutes.